Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Coaching from the Couch. This is your weekly DMV Sports Update. And I am your host, C Wall, checking in as I love to do each and every single week to give you the latest and greatest information on the hot topics in sports in the DMV. You all see, I sometimes I use my layout and my background, and other times I don't. But I'm using it today because I reminded myself that I have a layout and a background, and it also matches my shirt. So felt like I had to give you all that intro because, of course, it was necessary. All right, you all. So let's go through our housekeeping items. This is a live Bowie television recording. Everything we say and do here will more than likely end up on your television screens each and every single day. 1:30 to 2:30, Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity Channel 77. And on the weekend, it will be during the noon hour on Saturday and Sunday. If you haven't already, make sure you're also subscribed on YouTube to Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. I think I always get that backwards a little bit, but you know, you all, Mama Waller is in town. She's saying already hello to the Seawall family and Merry Christmas to everybody. You all, if you are joining on the Facebook live stream, hit that love button and share this show with your DMV sports loving family and friends, specifically your Wizards and Commanders fans for this evening's conversation. And also, if you're watching from YouTube, make sure you hit the thumbs up, the bell, so that you're getting all of the updates whenever we are going live. So, everybody, are you ready? Let's go ahead and get into the conversation, you all. So, I was in LA. You all knew this. I was in LA when the big news dropped, the big news in DMV sports last week. And this is for Wizards and Caps fans. So tap in your Caps fans as well. When the news dropped that Ted Leonsis already working with Virginia legislators to move the Washington Capitals and Washington Wizards to Northern Virginia, specifically the Potomac Yard area. So we didn't have a weekly DMV sports update last week. So we are going to talk about it now and get all of your reactions. If you are following, hopefully you've bookmarked on sportsillustrated.com, the Inside the Wizards Fan Nation site. You've already seen our reports, some of the opinion articles, just the updates on the Wizards and the Caps moving to Virginia. Drop in the chat your thoughts on the teams moving to Virginia, or the plan to move it to Virginia. It was a lot to unpack in this conversation. Truly a lot to unpack. Let's just be for real. Of course, when the news first dropped, I originally said, and I said this to my team, I said, good morning to everyone except Ted Leonsis. Now, that's always because who doesn't have the thought of, wow, wouldn't it be so cool to have all of the DC teams actually playing in Washington, DC? Everybody has that thought, or at least thought about it a time or two. So it's easy to think that way. Then you say, let's think about this for real. Let's think about this for real, folks. How many teams are named after cities and basically that's their home location, but technically that's not their home location. They really don't play and or practice in the city that they're named after. I mean, that's across all sports. It's just is what it is. So it's not uncommon to have a sports team that doesn't actually play in their city that they're named after. That's not unheard of. That's not an issue at all. And continue to drop in the chat your thoughts on the Wizards and Caps moving to Northern Virginia. Love button. Continue to share the show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. Thumbs up. Drop the thoughts in the chat if you're on YouTube as well. What I also said to myself, how on earth did DC let this slip away? Now, let's also be clear. We already see a comment here. I don't like it. Okay. Where you say, well, if there were promises or conversations made about modernizing Capital One, increasing security or police presence in and outside of the arena that had not necessarily happened at the time, I can kind of see where it's like, hey, this isn't safe. We don't feel like this is necessarily safe or the best option for our players, staff, fans. Right? It's just not. That's absolutely one thing. And a huge thing too, right? Thinking moving from DC to Virginia. The other thought is entertainment in sports arenas make a lot of money. And when you're talking about a venue or a space or something that is almost like a just multi-purpose area, town, city, it's kind of hard to pass up when the state is actually saying we're paying for it. If you don't necessarily have to pay for it as an owner, and someone says, yeah, I want you to come and we're going to pay for it, that's something you got to consider being completely objective. It's not like that part of Virginia is that far from DC, but I want to be clear that my initial gut reaction was like, oh man, teams are actually leaving DC. It's like the moment you thought potentially all of the professional sports teams will be playing in DC. How cool is that? Whoosh, here we go. Well, not one of the teams, but two of the professional teams are leaving the area. And it sounds like they're absolutely on board and excited about it. Kyle Kuzma tweeted about it. He seemed to be excited about it. He didn't seem, I mean, he had a bunch of fire emojis, it wasn't like something was said. He had, fire emojis. We shared on Inside the Wizards. Make sure you bookmark that site, that even NBA superstar, DMV native Kevin Durant was asked about it in his media availability when the Wizards were coming into town to take on the Phoenix Suns. He was asked about it, and he was like, hey, I think it's good for the city. He made a comment in saying it's like right on the border, so it's good. It's good. It'll be and then now this is me talking, understanding and learning more about the plans. Hey, we'd all be crazy if we didn't say, sounds pretty dope. Sounds like a very cool establishment, if you ask me. Now, let's also be very clear about something, you all. This does not indicate at all that all of the state and local officials in Virginia that would have to vote on this, this is not to say that they are all pleased about this plan. They're like, hey, the last thing we need is building something that we can't afford because we got too many other problems. So this is still developing, not necessarily etched in stone. But what I do think is an important point is the fact that Ted Leonsis has said, I can go now. I think it's very interesting. Now, I believe, Mayor Muriel Bowser is dedicated to spending, dollars on modernizing Capital One Arena, but it just sounds like that's too little too late for the Caps and the Wizards. They've already moved on. So this is still a developing topic, developing story. It would absolutely be a hot topic, something to discuss. I'm sure, between, government leaders, also fans of the team, also the businesses, and at least the DC location are going to feel some type of way about this move. And so more to come, but this is going to be a long, drawn out topic. I think what is even more interesting about this topic is that it seemed to come out of nowhere, right? Like it was been all of this conversation around the Commanders moving to DC and the mayor saying out loud she wants all of the teams in DC. And then to find out, surprise, surprise, one of the sports team owners, which owns, or one of the owners that actually owns multiple DC sports teams, is actually contemplating exiting stage left, going a little bit south of the DC border to have two of his teams play out of Virginia. I think that was what the double whammy was for me. Like, oh, all of this conversation around the Commanders moving to DC and everything around that topic, and who just foils that plan. So we'll see. I know Wizards fans, Caps fans definitely want to continue to hear from you all to see how you feel about this move to the Potomac Yards area in Northern Virginia. This will be a hot topic for sure as we go along. All right, Commanders fans, the rest of this is for you, and I'm not going to keep y'all long. I'm not going to keep y'all long. And then I say that sometimes and then I end up keeping you long. But I'm really not going to keep you all long because it's the holiday season. It is the holiday season for sure. And want to welcome you all. If you're just tuning in, you are watching From the Culture from the Couch series, the weekly DMV sports update. I am your host, C. Wall. This is a live Bully television recording. Everything we say and do here will more than likely end up on your television screens, everybody. Verizon Channel 11, Comcast Xfinity, Channel 77, every Monday through Fridays, actually not every day, Monday through Friday, 1:30 to 2:30, and on Saturdays and Sundays, it comes on during the noon hour. Make sure you are subscribed to Bowie TV on YouTube, Bowie TV at BCMC TV Maryland. Make sure you're subscribed there. If you're watching from Facebook, hit that love button. You can still share the show with your DMV sports loving family and friends. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up, hit the bell so you know when we're always going live. And if you're watching the replay, because you can always watch the replay, everybody. I mean, it's fun doing it live. It really is. But if you watch the replay, it's still a ton of information being shared and you can catch it then too. And hello to you all if you're watching the replay. So, Commanders fans, how is everybody doing? I'm serious. I have a real question. How are you? How are you? Let's see. Do we need to play? I think I may have to do this every show whenever I come on now. What's your one word for how you're feeling, Commanders fans? How are you doing? I mean this genuinely and from the bottom of my heart. How are you? Are you doing okay? What's your one word? Are you hanging in there? 3 more games. 3 more games. And one is coming up against the Jets. Then there's the San Francisco 49ers on New Year's Eve. Then there is the Dallas Cowboys on January the 7th. There's so much and so many different ways we can go about and having this conversation. And I put in on my post on my personal page, I put the hashtag choose your own adventure. And so for the rest of this conversation, we're going to choose our own adventure. Drop in the chat, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about regarding the Washington Commanders? You don't have to leave any stone unturned at all. And we got to sit through the rest of the season now. We have to get through the rest of the season. And we have to get through it together. So drop in the chat. What are some questions that you have for me? What are some hot topics or things you just want to talk about? And you just it could be about the team, it could be about the player, it could be about the potential move for the Commanders, right? Even going back to the move for the Caps in the Wizards, what does this even mean? That could be DC trying even harder to try to get the Commanders in the district, considering that them losing the Caps and Wizards is highly likely. We know there's some things that are still need to happen in order for it to be official, but it's highly likely. But oh wow, what is going, what an attempt it's going to be from DC to really get the Commanders. That, I mean, because you got to think that's a blow, losing the Wizards and Caps. I don't care what anybody say. That is a blow to the city. It is. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's a blow to the city for sure. Losing that business, losing that revenue, that's gonna hurt. For sure. So you know that the attempts at getting the Commanders are going to be even greater. I see this comment here. Why is it the thing every year with the Commanders? I mean, and you may have to clarify a bit there for me for us to have that conversation. In terms of why is it a thing every year? It's just I think it's remnants of the prior leadership. I've said this on previous shows, and that is leadership, culture change takes a long time, very long time. And many of the staff members, players were hired under the previous ownership, were hired under a previous leadership team. This current leadership team bought the team less than a week from training camp, less than a week. And to have true impact, this with this little bit of time and this limited ability, when the season is basically already started, once you get to training camp, the season is started, the season is underway. So you get there, it's a whole new ownership group. I mean, this is not just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. We're talking like 16 total, with Josh Harris being the majority owner and leading. that ownership group, it was going to take some time. There was a lot of hope. There was a lot of energy because of the sale. But unfortunately, that's just step one. That is just step one to truly being an organization rooted in change, rooted in winning, because you still have a staff collectively that was hired from a previous owner in a previous vision and previous objectives. They're still there, and they're not going to unwire or unravel and immediately be on board with the new culture and the new leadership right out. It takes time. And that's with any organization. Technically, because of this new ownership group, this has been a short period of time for them, right? But for fans, it's been 30 years. And it's tiresome. And we talked a bit about this in a show a couple of weeks ago, if you all recall, or go ahead and pull it up, about rebuilds. And this is why I'm like, I don't think they have a lot of time to rebuild, because it's already been so much time already. It's been so much time already. So there has to be a short window of, okay, what are you really looking for? And do you put it in terms of, hey, listen, I want at least 8 wins starting out. You need to at least break 500. You need to at least be there and show that progress. And I want to see consistently at least 10 wins. I want to see, I don't know. I'm just throwing some things out there, but I think that this ownership group is going to have to really get who they want starting out almost immediately, because the fan base is worn out. The fan base is worn out. 30 years is a very long time to be losing. And the reality is, I mean, hey, you can go online and look at the records. You can't, it's you grasping at straws at this point when you're like, oh, well, that was a winning season, or well, that was that. It didn't really amount to anything. The few and far between good moments that the franchise has had over the last 30 years, it's never enough, and it doesn't stick. So this ownership group has a tough, very tough task, but to build the momentum and the camaraderie, they're going to have to, I believe, really start a culture of the folks that they bring in, and understanding that we need to see results. And the results have to come in the form of a difference in your win-loss record. It has to be that clear. I'm not in the mood for developmental talks and raw talent talks. I don't want that. I want people that are going to be able to contribute immediately to game day, that results in a difference in the scoreboard. That is what I want. That is what I expect. And I want that now. I'm not telling you that I want you to come back next year and win a Super Bowl. That's not what was said. But what I am saying is, you must do better in a way that I can see tangible results and a difference in the win and loss record. I think that's a very simple ask, and something that can be done within a year. Certainly within 2. Certainly within 2. And I think I hope that answers your question, Dottie. I see it here. Okay. Do you think they should lower the ticket prices? Here's the thing with that. Very good question. There's the thing with that. If people are buying the tickets, why? I mean, Commanders fans aren't going to games because the product on the field is not what they deem acceptable to buy tickets for, which is fair. But that doesn't mean the 49ers fans aren't going to pay top dollar for those tickets. And we know there's plenty in this area. That doesn't mean, quite frankly, absolutely certain, Dallas fans are going to pay top dollar to see their team play at FedEx Field. So at the end of the day, the bottom line is the bottom line, and all of the money is green. So why am I going to lower tickets when the product in which you would lower tickets to attract the fans of the losing team? For what? They're not coming. So we gonna give you what this team is worth. What's the comment? What is the baseline or benchmark ticket price for a 49ers game? And that's what we're gonna charge you. What is the benchmark baseline price for a Dallas Cowboys game? That's what I'm gonna charge you. Because that's who's going to come to the game. Just saying. And rightfully so. Let's be fair. Let's be very fair and objective. Rightfully so. On New Year's Eve, it's not going to be a lot of burgundy and gold. It's going to be a lot of red and gold in 49ers fans there. Right? We already know. January 7th is going to be a lot of Cowboys fans. A ton at FedEx Field. The whole building. So why not make that money? They're going to pay it somewhere else. Why not at FedEx Field? Hope that answers your question. John Thomas, how is the culture for the Commanders? Do they even be hyped to play? It is certainly shifted. It has certainly shifted. At the beginning of the season, absolutely. Oh, the energy was so great. It was, really exciting. And right around the midpoint, right after the trade deadline and everything went down, there was a for sure dip. It was a for sure dip. And we're still seeing that dip. And it's unfortunate because the season, OTAs, training camp, all of it went so well. It went so well. And then it just started to deflate as the season has gone on. And it's not like anybody's sad, or it's not that, but it is very different in the hypeness, the energy level that it was week 1, week 2, even going into week 3, even week 4. I remember watching them week 4 in Philly, and they were hyped, and they were coming off that really dismal loss to the Buffalo Bills, but they were hyped. They were ready. They were ready to rock. They were ready. And, they ended up losing in overtime, but the energy was there. And I don't think I've seen that level of energy. I saw a bit of energy the Patriots game, but not the same level of energy that it was in September. So I hope that answers your question. Any more questions? Go ahead and pick my brain. This is a choose your own adventure sort of deal. And if there's no more questions, then that's cool, dude. Choose your own adventure. Whatever you like to ask me about the Commanders, whatever thoughts you have. And if you don't have any other thoughts or questions, that's cool, because we can wrap up and it's all right. 3 more games. And I mean, at this point, I think, I just use my pen and paper to do my own evaluation of what the team needs, what I think the team needs. who I think they have a good chance of keeping, who they might want to keep, all of those things. It's hard to keep the energy levels up. This weekend will probably be everyone's thinking it's going to be a dismal game, but you never know. Like I said earlier this week on the Washington Commanders update, these guys still have something to play for. These coaches still have something to play for, and that's for their jobs, right? Everybody's just not going to be like, maybe next year. No, folks still need good film. Folks still need people reaching out to them and saying, hey, I love what you did with your position group. I really like what you did. I saw the development. I saw the progress. I like your energy. I like what you're trying to build. I like what you're trying to do. They still need a good word spoken about what they did this season. This can't completely be a wash for, maybe it is for the team, but it can't be that for individuals. So you never know. The game might get interesting on Sunday, even though it's two teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs. Then when you're talking about the 49ers and the Cowboys, it's like, well, these are two teams that are in. They're already in. And I actually shared with somebody today. I said, it kind of is dang. The season's got 3 more games. And from a division standpoint, the Eagles and the Cowboys have both clinched playoff berths. And the daggone season not even over. So basically, what are you fighting for if in playing the Commanders? Okay, you might be playing for a seed or maybe home field advantage, but doesn't even matter. You've done it. You've made the playoffs. You've clinched. And those games are going to be interesting because you would really want to see, okay, what are the opposing team, what are they trying to do in these games? I don't think anybody's going to lay down. I don't think anybody's just going to be trying to give a game away or anything like that. But it will be interesting to see how they may rotate in and out their starters and how long they play. I will be interested to see that. But wish it had been a better turnout this season for the Washington Commanders. At least if they were still in the running and had not been totally eliminated at this point. Remember, last season, they were eliminated right before the last game of the season. So this is even a bit earlier for them in actually being officially eliminated. So, oh well, you all, maybe next time. Listen, you all, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Please do enjoy your families, your loved ones. I know that this time of the year is tough for a lot of people. A lot of people I know, they just want it to be over with. And I get it. I understand it. But for the moments that you do have and are able to cherish, please don't miss them, and just try to check in on someone you haven't talked to in a while. Show some love, give some hugs, and just try to make the most of your time in this holiday season, you all. So with that being said, much appreciated to you all. No show for sure on Monday because that's Christmas. We'll have to see about a show on Thursday. We'll see because we know that the Wizards they have a week playing at home next week, and we'll be getting ready for the 49ers to come into town. So all right, you all, be blessed, be safe, and I will be talking to you guys again soon.